Hey nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a movie review on Sinners. This video is long overdue, let me just start off by saying that. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's get into this. So if you don't know what the movie Sinners is about, I'll give you a little rundown. So the movie follows two twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, who return from Chicago to their Mississippi hometown to start anew. But little do they know, evil is lurking around the corner. That's literally all I can give away. Like a spoiler-free rundown of the movie. But here's my thing, this movie has been out for a little while, so I'm not even gonna, talk about the plot that much or even delve into the characters that much. I'm just going to go straight into things that I plucked from the movie as I've seen it. Now, I've seen the movie a total of 4 times. 3 times in theaters and once at home because I bought it when it came out on Prime Video. And I will say this, I am so grateful for this movie and that it exists. That being said, I do want to share my thoughts and feelings about the movie Sinners. This movie is such a big deal for the culture. It is very rare that we have things that are for us, by us, even by today's standards. It's still very hard for us to, keep something that is for us and by us. Having this original story connect us not only to our history, but to our ancestors is something that cannot be ignored here. I also think having a cast of mostly black, if not all black characters is something that we need to get used to. I literally say this all the time, but we are never the main character in any circumstance. Not only are there a lot of us in this movie, but there are different representations through each character. We have variations, we have layers, we have different stories coming into one. It's a beautiful thing to see. Not just for the black community, but the Chinese and Native American community as well. They have some of their culture peppered throughout this movie too. And it was also very educational. I think when people saw this movie, this was their first time learning about Chinese immigrants in the Delta during that time. A lot of people didn't know that. It's great that they know that now. Granted, it's coming from a thriller about vampires in 1930s Mississippi, but I digress. Now they know. Ryan Coogler deserves every award and accolade that he receives from this movie. I've been a fan of Ryan Coogler ever since Black Panther. And when I saw that he was directing this movie, I knew it was going to be something special. The cast was top tier in every single person, down to the extras. Like, they acted their asses off. Giving my flowers to them, they deserve it, absolutely. And it's not every day that you see a black vampire film, but of course this movie was so much more than that. It delved into black people's history and connection with music. It also showed us how we originated, genres like blues music and country music, and how it's important to remember and to tell the stories of the people who came before us, because everything is connected. I also love how the movie showed significance of religion and not just delving into Christianity like most movies do with like an all-black cast or a mostly black cast. That's like the first thing that we jump to, but also going into the importance of religions that weren't forced upon us, like the religions that we came over here with, like voodoo and or hoodoo. So I thought that was important to have as well. All around, just a phenomenal movie. And I want to say something, or I want to repeat something that somebody said on the internet. Now, don't quote me because I did not say this. This is not me saying it. I'm just repeating what someone else said, okay? So there was this one person on TikTok, it's always TikTok, and they said, if you don't understand why Sinners was a great movie, you're either racist, uneducated, or both. I wouldn't say it that way, but I agree with the sentiment, because all biases aside, they're not even in the room anymore, what's not to like? What's not to like? This isn't about Michael B. Jordan. This isn't about Ryan Coogler. This isn't about, it's not even about, you know, this being something for us, by us. All biases aside, what's not to like? And that's okay if you don't like the movie. Like sometimes this type of thing is not for everybody, and that is perfectly fine. But just outright saying that, oh, it wasn't all that, without having something to back it up, what's not to like? I feel like I'm gonna start a discussion in the comments. There's gonna be a whole discussion board going on. I don't want y'all to be arguing, but like, just, you know, keep that in mind. And you're entitled to your opinion just like everybody else. So if you don't like it, that's cool. But if you don't understand or can't respect the fact that it is a great movie without just saying, oh, it sucks, without anything to back it up or any, you know, reasoning, we needed this. We needed this. We needed this so bad. I am glad that it's gotten the reach and engagement that it has, because this movie has been out since April. People are still raving and talking about it, and I think it broke a couple records in the box office. Don't quote me on that, but wow. It's important for us to have things like this. We need to be exploring all genres in the art form of film, and coming back around to Sinners, this is something that we needed. Now I want to talk about some symbolism and important messages that I plucked from the movie. Now listen, y'all probably have been on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff, and y'all have heard millions of theories, millions of Easter eggs, millions of symbolism, messages, all that type of stuff, right? So I have heard probably the same things that you have heard. Now, I'm not going to go through every single bout of symbolism or metaphors or Easter eggs, because if I do, we're going to be here for hours on end. Hours on end. So I picked a few that stood out to me the most, because if, like I said, we're going to be here all day and all night. After researching, I picked a few that really stood out to me and that are my favorite. And you may have heard these already from other creators or, you know, other people on different platforms. And if you haven't, well, let's talk about it. Now, of course, this movie is heavy with the symbolism. You know, it's everywhere. There is always something that you catch, especially if you have watched it more than once. You catch something new every time. It's like a Jordan Peele film. You can't just watch it once. The first symbolic thing I want to talk about is the color blue in this. Just the color blue, because I feel like the color red has all like made its way to the forefront, but I want to talk about the color blue. So Annie, y'all remember Annie, right? Her signature color is blue. We mostly see her wearing like blue hues and cool tones, right? I think we've only seen Annie wear blue. But it's not just any shade of blue. This is haint blue. Now you're probably asking, Talia, what is haint blue? What is a haint? I'm glad you asked. It's time for school. Come on, kids. So in voodoo culture, a haint is basically, from what I have learned in research, it's a malevolent spirit that can possess people, okay? There was this shade of blue that was painted on doors called haint blue, and this was used to ward off evil spirit. And something else that I read about haint blue is the reason that it is blue because it symbolizes water, and spirits can't cross running water. Just thought that was fun to throw in there, okay? I said that haint blue was Annie's signature color. Who else wore blue in the film? So simple, but it has major significance, because other than Sammy, who was the last one standing after fighting off the evil spirits and fighting off the clan? Smoke. The next message or like theme, symbolism type thing is that music is a spiritual gateway. Now, a few of us already know this. We already took this class. As some of us know, Lucifer was the angel of music, right? We're going on the biblical side just for a little bit. Lucifer used his music. Oh. I'm scared. Lucifer used his music as a means to, you know, tempt others, bring them into temptation, right? Remick, being our representation of the devil, we see that reversed. The music is now tempting him, drawing him in. We also see Remick using his music trying to extort and exploit the musical talents of others, Sammy. Another message or theme that I want to talk about is cultural appropriation. Now, this one was very obvious to me from the get-go. Like from the first watch, I was like, oh, I see what they're doing and I dig it, and that's smart. And it can be as simple as, you know, Remick seeing what he saw, hearing what he heard in the juke joint, and trying to copy that and make something of his own, have his own sense of community. The dance circle out in the field was a mirror of what was going on in the juke joint when they were all dancing to Sammy's song. They were all congregating and feeling the music. It was like a mirror effect of that. Oh, okay, this is probably like my favorite one because it hit me so hard when I realized what it meant. So at the end of the movie, where Smoke defeated the Klan and he's on his way out and he sees Annie and his daughter on the other side. She looks to him. She goes, Elijah, you put that cigarette out, you can hold her. I don't want any of that smoke to get on her. Let me repeat it slowly. She said, Elijah. She called him by his government name. Annie only calls Smoke by his government name when she wants his attention and she being serious. She goes, Elijah, you put that cigarette out, you can hold her. I don't want any of that smoke to get on her. Y'all should have seen me in this movie theater. I was crying like somebody's fool. I was tearing up, bawling, and my sister was looking at me like, you good? Because, oh, so simple but so effective. Like, to me, that was Annie's way of saying, you leave your old ways behind and you come be with us. Like, we need you. Your family's waiting on you. So you leave Smoke behind on this realm and you come over here as Elijah with me and your daughter. I said, oh, it hit and it hurt and it stung right here. Oh, okay. So this symbolism right here, this was also something else that jumped out at me like the minute the movie started. So from the first watch, the minute the movie started, right when it opens up, I immediately said, oh my gosh, that is Robert Johnson. Sammy represents the legend of Robert Johnson. Now, if you don't know who Robert Johnson is, let me give you a little crash course, okay? This is Robert Johnson, okay? He was like one of the first blues singers to be like widely recognized in the world. He was very popular in the 1930s, right? So his story goes, when he was first starting out, he was a very novice guitar player. He wasn't very good, but he played anyway until one night. One night, he woke up in the middle of the night, like middle of the night, dead middle of the night. He went to the crossroads. And guess who was waiting on him? The devil. You meet the devil at the crossroads, he gonna give you what you want, but you gotta shake on it. He said, Robert, take this guitar. You take this guitar, you will be the best guitar player that ever walked the earth. All you gotta do is shake my hand. So, legend goes, Robert went to the crossroads at that night, met the devil there, made a deal with them so he could be the best guitar player in the world. Lo and behold, the next day, he was playing like nobody's business. And people were like, well, he used to suck and he's very good now. He became very popular. Since he made a deal with the devil, there was a price to pay. And if you don't make good on that promise, he comes to collect. And you know what he wants? Your soul. So that's what he got. You know, so at the time he was 27, Robert Johnson died. Somebody, I think the story went, he was messing with somebody's wife and then the husband found out, so the husband poisoned him and Sammy died at the age of 27, and he was the founding member of the 27 Club. That's a whole other video, but go look it up if you don't know what it is. That first like picture, illustration of the figure with the hat on and the guitar, that is Robert Johnson. And then Sammy's story is very similar to that legend of Robert Johnson's, because, you know, he did tangle with the devil, but he didn't make a deal to get that gift. He already had the gift within him. So it was kind of a variation, but it was different, and it kind of turned it around. I said, Sammy's Robert Johnson. That's just that. That is just that. Another symbol that I really want to point out, and I feel like people are sometimes forgetting, is that the very existence of vampires in this movie is a metaphor itself. What do vampires do? Suck blood. What do leeches do? They suck blood. Okay, follow me. I'm getting there. Follow me. They're literally leeching. These vampires, Remick and his crew, they are leeching off of black culture and trying to appropriate it into their own. He is turning them to carry out his widespread appropriation / assimilation oppression. Like, those things mean very different things, but he's doing all of those at the same time. Sammy's father and his church. Now, being someone who has religious trauma, I felt for Sammy in this moment. I really did. It was when Sammy came back to the church with the guitar in his hand, and his father was so focused on like saying, Sammy, just let it go, because he believes that that guitar was what brought the devil to him. I'm like, sir, you don't understand. You don't understand, Reverend Pastor. I was sitting there thinking, sir, we're not worried about JC and his disciples right now. Your son went through literal hell just a few hours prior to this. All his friends are dead, his cousins are dead, and you talk about some Sammy, just put the guitar down. Little do you know, that very guitar that you want him to drop so bad, that saved his life. That's why he ain't let it go. That same guitar that you tried to take from him and keep from him and told him that that was going to bring the devil, which it did, he was worried about that. But he defeated the devil with that same guitar and it saved his life. I wouldn't have dropped it either. I'm taking this with me wherever I go, wherever my 2 feet will carry me. The next thing I want to talk about is the devil quote scripture. A lot of people say, well, the reason why Remick knew the Lord's Prayer is because, you know, devil can quote scripture too, which, yes, but what y'all are forgetting, what I see a lot of people forgetting, is Remick told Sammy that the colonizers that came to his father's land, they used that same prayer to try to assimilate them and oppress them. So yeah, he knows the words because those are the same words that the oppressors used on him and his people way back when, okay? That's why he knew it, and he was like, listen, been there, done that, you're gonna try a little bit harder than the Lord's Prayer. I want to talk about Delta Slim real quick. So y'all remember when Stack, Delta Slim, and Sammy were in a car and he was telling the story of his chain gang friends and how they played and they were having a good time and how his friend got lynched in a train station? There is significance behind that, and I'm gonna tell you why. Delta Slim was traumatized that his best friend was killed so brutally in a train station. Where do we first see him? Playing and drinking and spending all his days at the train station. I feel like that in that moment, why he was there is that he decided that he would never leave his best friend again. Because his best friend only happened to his best friend because they split up after, you know, they did their thing, and he was at the train station by himself. So being that the train station is where Delta Slim chooses to hang out, oh, that was heavy. Because he said, I'm not going to leave my best friend again, so that's why he's at the train station. Coming to that realization sent chills down my spine like no other. Also, while we're on the topic of Delta Slim, this isn't like a symbolism thing or like, you know, a metaphor, but I just want to point it out. He did not have to die. He didn't have to die, at least not in that way. He sacrificed himself so selflessly. I was already devastated at this point because we lost Annie. But when we lost Delta Slim, and he went out like, gee. And I was like thinking and trying to rationalize, like, you know, okay, he was an old drunk man. How far would he have gotten? But he didn't have to go like that. He didn't have to go like that. But he did that to protect Sammy. Oh, God. Slim, no. Oh, so one last little bit of symbolism. Pick Poor Robin Clean. Now, I know the true meaning of this song because I've had it explained to me, and you know, I've read up on it, but I want to tell y'all what I initially thought when I heard the song. So this is the song that Remick, Bert, and Leanne, or is that her name? You know, the 2 white vampires that was with him. Anyway, they were singing this outside the juke joint, right? And you know, the song goes, I picked poor Robin clean, picked poor Robin clean. I picked his head, I picked his feet. I would have picked his body, but it wasn't fit to eat. Now, I don't know if this is just me, but let me tell you what I thought. So, having them, the white vampires who were trying to assimilate and transform and congregate, right, in their little vampire banjo fellowship and love cult, having them sing that skeeved me out, but not for the reasons you think. So, them singing Pick Poor Robin Clean, I automatically think of a picnic. That's my first thought, a picnic. Do y'all know what the origin of the word picnic means? The origin of the word picnic comes from pick a nigga. What that mean, Talia? Pick a nigga, as in pick a nigga to lynch. Now, picnic was already a thing, like, you know, laying out food and stuff like that. Having a little lunch time with your family or whatever. White people, back in the day, they would gather, congregate to have a picnic, but they would be picking a nigga to lynch while they ate, because it was like a form of entertainment. So when I heard pick poor Robin clean, I'm like, is Robin a slave that got picked to be lynched at a picnic? That was my initial thought. I'm like, okay, maybe that's just me, but that's what I thought. Because I scare myself sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, your brain, Talia.
Hey, sorry. I forgot to mention this when I was filming. Another reason why Remick and his group singing Picked Poor Robin Clean made me very uneasy is because back in the day, some white people used to eat us. You heard me correctly. They used to eat us. Some white people thought of us as a delicacy. So that gave Picked Poor Robin Clean a whole new meaning, whole new level of fear and disgust. But yeah, back to the video.
Oh, this isn't like a symbolism or theme message thing either, but I want to talk about the Native Americans real quick. I love that the accurate portrayal of them warning people one time and then dipping and not coming the back. Yeah. Yes. I have Native American friends, and from what I have learned from them, they don't play with that. They don't play with that. They don't play with that. They don't play with that, okay? You got one time to heed my warning, heed their warning. And if you don't, that's on you. They're going to go and protect themselves and, you know, do what they need to do, because they don't play with that. Malevolent spirits and demons and all that, they don't play. It take them one time to get the out of Dodge. And I love that the movie portrayed that exact thing. They tried to help. Be like, hey, listen, we trying to help y'all because there's like there's a monster in y'all's house. And Leanne was like, off. Or Lynn, whatever her name is. She said, off. He said, okay, we finna dip and we gonna go. We're going to go. They didn't waste no time, and I don't blame them because, baby. So there's been talk and rumors about there being a whole lineup of prequels and sequels for Sinners. And I'm gonna share an unpopular opinion. Maybe it's not that unpopular. Maybe I'm just, you know, whatever. But I do not think that this movie needs any prequels or any sequels. I think it should just be a standalone film. So let me tell you why. Recently, Hollywood has had a problem with not letting TV shows and movies end. They're always creating sequels, prequels, and 18 million reboots. We've seen it happen in real time, right? They're not letting things just be great because they want the story to keep going and they want to keep making money. Making a sequel or a prequel to this movie, I just feel like it would cheapen it. That's just me though. And I understand the want for prequels and sequels because each character has such a deep history. You can literally make a movie about each and every character. You can make a movie about the Smokestack Twins. You can make a movie about Annie. You can make a movie about Delta Slim. You can make a movie about Mary. Literally everyone has such a deep rooted like story that really, you know, we don't even get a lot of, but the storytelling is so good in this movie that we can kind of build from what we are told from that little bit. And I get that, I get the want for that, but I think making prequels and sequels is just going to cheapen it. I also think that it's best that the rest is left up to our imagination because the things that we can conjure should be enough. I just don't think creating a whole universe of, you know, prequels and sequels, I don't think that's the way to go, but that's just my opinion. Oh, so I said I wasn't going to talk about the characters, but I lied. I want to talk about two specifically. I want to talk about Annie and Mary. If you've been on my channel before, you know that I am super serious about the depiction of black women in any type of media, right? And a lot of people, upon first viewing or speculation, they thought that Annie, who is Smoke's love interest, that's his woman, they thought that she was his mama or his grandmama or something, or his auntie, all because she was a dark-skinned, heavy-set woman. Now listen, dark-skinned, heavy-set women have a history of being portrayed as the mammy or a mammy type of character. If you don't know what a mammy is, go educate yourself. I'm not going to explain everything to you, but there's a history of that. So when ever, especially in the black community, whenever we see a heavy-set chocolate woman on the screen, plus-size woman, we automatically think, not we, I ain't French, people automatically think mama, grandmama, auntie. No. And what got me was, even after they saw Smoke and Annie kiss and they're like, oh, but that's his mama, which tells me things about you. Because why would he kiss and his own mama? Like, oh my gosh, like, why is it so hard to believe that someone that looks like Michael B. Jordan could have a love interest that looks like one me? And that woman is probably the most beautiful woman to walk the earth. Look at this face. And her talent is off the charts. Like, the way that she played this character, she played the shit out of it. And she did amazing. But it hurt to like see that initial reaction, like, oh, this must be his mama or his aunt or something because of the way she looks. Now, if she was skinnier or lighter skin, they wouldn't have thought that. It's just the internalized stereotype and racism. But I'm glad that Wendy got her flowers and her recognition because she deserved all of it. And I love how Michael B. Jordan poured life into her and supported her throughout this entire process, even after, like, in the press tours. That was so beautiful. Moving on to Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld. So, in real life, her granddaddy is half black, if I'm not mistaken. And Mary's character has a similar or the same situation. Her mama's daddy was half black, alright? Now, that's what we call an octoroon. That is someone who is 1/8 black. People are saying, man, they should have got someone else to play this. I would have had Journey Smollett play this. She could have played this. Let me tell you why that wouldn't work. Now, Journey is biracial. She's half black, half Jewish. But it's not about that. It's about the fact that Mary was struggling to pass as mixed. Not black, but just mixed. Okay? Because she was 1/8. And that 1/8 rule was a big deal back in those times. Okay? So, physically, Mary did not appear even as mixed or black, right? I just feel like Journey Smollett has features to where you know she's black, right? I think we can all agree that Journey Smollett is passing as a black woman, a light-skinned black woman. She is a light-skinned black woman. Light-skinned black biracial woman. Like, she is. Haley playing this character, also having that realism of her grandfather being half black, that makes it so much more real, and especially to that time, because she's white passing. That lady white passing, but she got the one drop. So I feel like nobody could play that role other than Haley. I mean, if there was someone else who had the same like kind of lineage in their family, then okay, we could make something work. But not Journey Smollett. Love her, but no, it wouldn't work the same. It wouldn't come out the same. That's just my opinion. No hate to anybody, that was just my opinion. But yeah, overall, that is kind of like my, you know, my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions. There's so much more that I want to talk about. There's so much more symbolism, themes, messages that I want to get into. But like I said, we're going to be here for hours on end, and I feel like this video is long enough. Overall, this is one of my new favorite movies now. Ryan Coogler, thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Oh, I want to say this. Miles Catton's voice, speaking and singing, that's like dark chocolate. Dark, rich Godiva. Is it Godiva or Godiva? It don't matter. What a blessing to have a voice as rich as that. Both speaking and singing voice. So lucky. God has truly blessed you. That was my review on Sinners. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 12 out of 10. Because Ryan Coogler did that. So that concludes our video for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. And if you made it to the end of this video, comment a red heart for Stack and a blue heart for Smoke. And subscribe if you want to. I'll see y'all on the next go round. Okay, bye.